Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with a powerful truth. You are not here to chase love. You are here to radiate it. And when you understand how to tap into the deepest emotional architecture of the masculine mind, you no longer hope for connection. You magnetize it. This isn't manipulation. This is energy. This is coherence. This is alignment with your own innate power as a creator of reality. Now let's go deeper. Here are 5 secret male weaknesses. Not flaws, but energetic openings. That, when activated, can make any man feel drawn to you on a level he can't explain and can't resist. 1. He craves emotional safety, but doesn't know how to ask a man can wear armor on the outside and still tremble on the inside. Beneath confidence, masculinity, or even detachment, there is a longing to be safe, seen, not judged. When you embody emotional presence, when your energy says, "You don't need to be perfect to be loved here," you bypass his defenses and touch his soul. You become the only place he doesn't have to perform. That's not ordinary. That's magnetic. 2. He's addicted to admiration, not ego stroking, not flattery. I'm talking about true appreciation, energetic acknowledgement of who he is at his core. When you focus your attention on what is already powerful in him, not what's missing, you activate a frequency of love that rewires his brain. Literally. Dopamine, oxytocin, neural bonding. He doesn't fall for you because of what you say. He falls because of how you make him feel about himself. And that is unforgettable. 3. He's vulnerable to emotional impact. Here's the paradox. Men seem to resist emotion, yet their entire inner world is governed by it. When you show up with emotional authenticity, not drama but embodied truth, you create what his soul has starved for. Depth. Your vulnerability unlocks his. And in that moment, he isn't thinking about your body, your words, or your smile. He's feeling your frequency, and that frequency becomes his addiction. 4. He's wired to pursue meaning. Men don't stay for beauty. They stay for meaning. They are drawn to women who are not just desirable, but devoted to something larger than themselves. When your life has purpose, passion, vision, when your identity is not built around him, but around something greater, he doesn't feel like you need him. He feels like he needs you to remind him of who he wants to become. That's not attraction. That's reverence. 5. He can't resist a regulated nervous system. This is the quantum secret. Your nervous system is your energetic broadcast. When you live in survival, chasing, doubting, overthinking, you emit the frequency of fear. But when you align your mind and heart, when you ground yourself in worth, peace, and presence, your entire field shifts. You become the calm in his storm. And that calm, that coherence, it's like gravity. It pulls him in without words, without effort. You don't need to convince a man to love you when you're radiating from that level of inner alignment. Because the truth is, he's not falling for you. He's falling into himself through you. So remember, you are not here to seduce the surface. You're here to awaken the soul. Ching. And when you live from that field of love, clarity, and power, you don't chase obsession. You become it. Thank you. A man's greatest hidden longing is not for control, success, or even admiration. It is for emotional safety. This may not be obvious at first. Most men have been conditioned from an early age to hide their emotional needs beneath layers of performance, stoicism, or distraction. But beneath the armor lies a nervous system wired like anyone else's, one that craves peace, acceptance, and freedom from judgment. Emotional safety is not weakness. It's the baseline for intimacy. Without it, no real connection can grow. When a man senses he is emotionally safe with you, something profound begins to shift within him. His guard lowers not because he was told to, but because his body on a subconscious level begins to relax. You don't create emotional safety by coddling him or suppressing your truth. You create it by living in coherence with your own emotional truth. You model a frequency that says it's okay to feel here. Emotional safety doesn't require words. It's communicated through energy, tone, the way your eyes soften when he shares, the way your body doesn't flinch at his vulnerability. It's in the absence of reactivity, the presence of deep listening, the willingness to be with the uncomfortable without trying to fix or control it. When a man feels this from a woman, even if he can't articulate it, he becomes drawn to her in a way that feels involuntary. She becomes a sanctuary. Not because she makes his pain disappear, but because she doesn't make him wrong for having it. When emotional safety is present, a man can step into parts of himself that he doesn't often reveal, even to himself. He becomes more expressive, more honest, more generous with his affection. His need to dominate or distance dissolves, replaced by a quiet confidence born from being accepted not for what he does, but for who he is underneath the mask. And here's the paradox. When a man feels safe emotionally, he often becomes more masculine, not less. Safety doesn't weaken his edge. It sharpens it. It gives him the internal ground to be both soft and strong, both grounded and free. He begins to associate you with this feeling, with a rare experience of not needing to defend or explain. Admiration is one of the most powerful forces that can draw a man toward a woman, not because of ego, but because it touches something ancient and essential in the masculine psyche. At his core, a man wants to feel that who he is matters, that his efforts, his struggles, his victories, both large and small, are seen and appreciated. This isn't about praising superficial traits or inflating his sense of self. It's about witnessing the essence of who he is and reflecting it back to him with sincerity and warmth. When a woman can look at a man and see his strength, not just in what he shows the world, but in what he tries to protect and build within himself, she taps into a deep emotional reservoir he rarely accesses. True admiration doesn't come from words alone. It's an energetic signature. It's the way your eyes light up when he shares something he's proud of. It's the softness in your voice when you acknowledge his effort, even when the world overlooks it. It's the genuine curiosity you show when you ask him about his passions, his ideas, his goals, not to analyze him, but to know him. This kind of admiration is subtle but profound. It creates a neurochemical response in the brain. Dopamine rises, emotional bonding strengthens. He begins to associate you with the best version of himself, the one he longs to live in more fully. Men are often not given the space to be appreciated for their inner worlds. They are admired for performance, for results, for being providers or protectors. But when admiration comes from a place of seeing who he is behind all that, his resilience, his creativity, his quiet courage, it creates an emotional imprint he doesn't forget. He feels elevated in your presence, not because you've placed him on a pedestal, but because you've mirrored back his worth in a way that resonates deeply. This creates a feedback loop. The more he feels seen, the more he wants to be worthy of that seeing. The more he wants to rise, to lead, to give that he is. It's not about manipulation or strategy. It's about authentic connection. A man who feels genuinely admired doesn't just stay close. He invests, protects, and prioritizes. Because admiration, when it's real, becomes the soil in which loyalty, desire, and deep emotional attachment grow naturally. Vulnerability is often misunderstood in the masculine world. From a young age, most men are taught to suppress their emotional expression, to view vulnerability as weakness, and to protect themselves from anything that might expose their inner world. But underneath that conditioning is a deep, unmet hunger to be fully known, not for what he can provide or protect, but for who he is in the quiet spaces of his soul. When a woman leads with her own authentic vulnerability, not in the form of emotional chaos, but through grounded self-expression, it signals to a man that it's safe to drop his guard. Vulnerability isn't a performance. It's a frequency. It's the energy that says, I trust myself enough to show up as I am, and that energy is disarming. When a woman shares her truth, not to gain sympathy or control, but simply as a reflection of who she is in that moment, it invites a man into emotional presence. It pulls him out of logic and into the field of feeling. This is not something he's usually offered. In a world that demands he be strong, decisive, and emotionally contained, he rarely encounters someone who says, through both energy and example, that it's okay to feel. Her vulnerability is not about confession, it's about coherence. Her inner and outer worlds match, and that authenticity becomes a mirror for him to explore parts of himself he's long avoided. A man may resist vulnerability at first, but if he senses genuine emotional integrity in her, he becomes curious. Slowly, he starts to reveal small truths, past fears, unspoken dreams, emotional wounds. And with each shared moment, the bond deepens. He starts to see her not just as a partner or lover, but as a gateway to emotional freedom. He experiences something rare: intimacy without pressure, openness without threat. Her ability to be emotionally transparent inspires him to soften without losing his sense of self. In those moments of shared vulnerability, something ancient happens. The masks fall. The tension dissolves. What's left is raw, real connection, no persona, no performance. Just two nervous systems, two hearts, two human beings meeting without the need to control or protect. And in that space, desire takes root, not just sexual desire, but the deeper kind. The longing to return to her presence again and again because it feels like home. A man may be drawn to beauty, charm, or even chemistry, but what makes him stay, what makes him deeply attached and unable to forget a woman is meaning. The masculine is wired to pursue, to strive, to conquer, but underneath that drive is the longing to feel that his efforts matter. When he encounters a woman who lives with purpose, who is rooted in something greater than appearance or validation, he feels something different. She isn't waiting to be chosen, she has already chosen herself. She's on a path, and her path activates something primal in him, the desire to rise, to evolve, to matter within the story of her life. A woman of depth of passion, of mission carries a magnetic field around her. It's not about being loud or busy or constantly achieving. It's the quiet clarity in her energy. She doesn't need to prove her value because she knows her value. She's aligned with something internal that guides her choices, her boundaries, her rhythm. And when a man feels this, he senses that she's not looking for a savior or a filler for emptiness. She's looking for resonance, for someone who can walk beside her, not someone to complete her. That distinction changes everything. Men crave this kind of woman more than they admit. She challenges them not with criticism, but with presence. She inspires, not by demanding more, but by being more. And in that presence, he begins to question his own path. He wonders if he is living in alignment with his own truth, or just following the scripts he was handed. Her existence becomes a subtle invitation to reconnect with what's real, with what has been forgotten in the noise of success and performance. He senses that she's not living from wounds, but from wisdom. Not seeking approval, but radiating presence. This makes her unpredictable in the best way. Not because she plays games, but because she cannot be boxed in by anyone else's expectations. Your frequency is shaped by your inner state. When your thoughts are coherent with your emotions and your actions reflect your truth, you move in alignment. That alignment creates a clarity that is deeply attractive. A man may not consciously understand why he's thinking about you, drawn to you, or unable to move on from you, but on a deeper level, his body is responding to your field. This field is what makes your energy linger long after you've left the room. It's what makes your voice echo in his mind at random moments. It's what makes your presence feel different than anyone else's. Frequency isn't about always being happy or pretending to be positive. It's about being real and regulated. It's about taking full responsibility for your energy, learning how to elevate it, protect it, and share it from a place of overflow rather than need. When you operate at this level, a man doesn't just see you, he feels you. And that feeling becomes the magnet that pulls him closer, not through force, but through resonance. The nervous system is the core of human connection, often determining attraction before the mind can even form a thought. While many try to influence a man through words, appearance, or behavior, the truth is that his body is responding first to energy, specifically the regulation of your nervous system. A calm, grounded, and emotionally attuned nervous system sends out a signal that says, "You are safe here." And that signal can be felt immediately, even in silence. It's not about always being calm or never feeling emotional. It's about your ability to return to balance, to stay rooted in yourself, even when life moves unpredictably. When a woman's nervous system is dysregulated, marked by reactivity, anxiety, or emotional chaos, a man may feel intrigued, but he will also feel unsettled. He may not be able to articulate it, but his instinct is to protect his own balance by pulling away. On the other hand, when he meets a woman whose nervous system feels coherent and steady, something inside of him begins to relax. His guard lowers not because of what she does, but because of what she transmits. He feels more connected to himself in her presence, which creates a powerful bond that goes beyond physical attraction. A regulated nervous system gives a woman a sense of embodied presence. She listens without needing to interrupt. She breathes through tension rather than reacting to it. Her tone is even, her eyes stay connected, and her body language communicates emotional maturity. This kind of presence is rare and deeply comforting to a man, especially one who spends most of his life in performance, pressure, or emotional suppression. When he encounters a woman who isn't trying to fix, please, or control him, but who simply is, he feels something ancient, a return to safety that he didn't even know he was missing. This safety does not weaken attraction. It enhances it. Because in the presence of a calm nervous system, a man is not only more emotionally available, he is also more confident, more present, more connected to his own instincts. He begins to see this woman not just as someone to desire, but as someone he can grow with, someone who brings out the best in him by simply maintaining her own inner balance. Her stability becomes a sanctuary, her energy a space where he can finally exhale. Presence is one of the most underrated yet powerful forces of attraction. It's not something you say, it's not something you do, it's something you are. Presence is the ability to be fully in the moment, fully in your body, fully available to what is happening right now without distraction, anxiety, or pretense. Most people are living in their heads, worrying about the future or replaying the past, and this mental noise creates distance. But when a woman is present, when she can hold eye contact without rushing, listen without needing to respond immediately, and be instead of constantly doing, she becomes unforgettable. A man may not consciously understand why he feels different around her, but on a deeper level, he feels more seen, more heard, and more alive. When a woman is present, she commands attention without demanding it. Her energy fills the space in a quiet, confident way. She's not scattered, not rushing to impress, not looking for validation. She's anchored in herself, and that stillness becomes magnetic. A man feels it immediately because it contrasts with most of what he encounters: distraction, pressure, performance. In her presence, he feels invited to slow down, to open up, to connect more deeply. And because presence is rare, it creates a unique imprint. He may meet others who are beautiful or interesting, but they fade. The one who was fully there lingers in his memory. Presence also allows a woman to read and respond to energy in real time. She notices when a man tenses, when his tone shifts, when he lights up talking about something he loves. She responds not with rehearsed charm, but with authentic curiosity and grounded attention. This kind of attunement is felt on a cellular level. It's not about being perfect or endlessly calm, it's about being available, emotionally available, energetically available. Not just physically present, but truly with the other person. A man is drawn to presence not only because it feels good, but because it challenges him to come out of his own mental noise. It inspires him to rise to that same level of aliveness. Around a present woman, he feels like more of himself, not less. He feels challenged, yet comforted. Energized, yet grounded. Her ability to fully occupy her own energy becomes a powerful mirror that invites him to meet her in the same depth. Magnetism isn't a force you can actively try to create. It's a natural byproduct of a woman who knows her worth and carries it effortlessly. When you're grounded in your own sense of self, when you are whole and complete in yourself, you exude an energy that is magnetic and undeniable. This is the kind of attraction that doesn't rely on tricks, flattery, or games. It arises simply from the fact that you are not trying to fill a void or seek validation, but living from a place of self-acceptance and inner strength. You become a mirror for the world around you, reflecting back your worth and drawing in those who are aligned with that energy. A man who encounters this kind of energy can't help but be drawn to it, not because of what you do, but because of what you embody. When you no longer need someone to complete you, but you simply invite them into your already full life, you activate a sense of abundance rather than scarcity. Your presence becomes a powerful affirmation of who you are, and that confidence doesn't come from ego, but from alignment with your own truth. It's a signal that says, I am enough as I am. I am whole. When a man senses this energy, he feels it deep within himself. He may not even be able to articulate why he is so drawn to you, but there is a subtle recognition that you are offering something that goes beyond physical attraction. You are offering a vision of someone who stands strong in their own energy, someone who is self-sufficient, and yet open to connection. He begins to wonder if he can rise to meet that energy, if he can stand as firmly in his own sense of self as you do. He's intrigued not by the chase, but by the invitation to join a partnership of equals, where both people show up as their highest selves, not seeking to fill an emptiness, but to enhance each other's lives. This kind of magnetism doesn't ask for validation. It gives permission. It allows a man to be more himself because he's in the presence of someone who knows exactly who they are. He's invited into a space of mutual respect, admiration, and alignment. And in that space, true desire grows not from need, but from a shared recognition of each other's power and potential. Alignment is the quiet force that governs true attraction. It's not something you chase or force, it's something that naturally unfolds when your inner world is in harmony with your outer world. When your thoughts, actions, and energy are all aligned with your values, desires, and purpose, there is a clarity that emanates from you. This clarity is magnetic. It calls forth a man's deepest recognition of his own alignment, inviting him to rise into the best version of himself. Alignment isn't just about being authentic, it's about living in coherence with your highest truth, unshaken by external pressures or expectations. A woman who is aligned is not swayed by fleeting emotions or external validation. She moves through the world with a sense of inner stability, knowing that her worth does not depend on the opinions or actions of others. Her energy is grounded because she is rooted in self-awareness, and this stability provides a space for connection that is deeply attractive. When a man encounters a woman in alignment, he feels it immediately. He feels that there is no pretense, no masks, no games. She is who she says she is, and that clarity creates a safe and inviting space for him to show up as his true self as well. When a woman lives in alignment, her decisions reflect her values. She honors her boundaries, listens to her intuition, and creates a life that reflects what she truly wants, not what she's been told to want. This is powerful because it's rare. In a world full of people seeking approval or chasing external markers of success, a woman who stands firmly in her truth stands apart. She doesn't need to prove herself because she already knows who she is. This confidence, rooted in alignment, sparks something deep in a man's psyche. It activates his own desire to be aligned, to live in integrity with his own purpose and desires. Alignment also invites balance. It allows a man to be both seen and heard in a space where both people are not only present but genuinely there for each other. There is no competition. No comparison. There is simply mutual respect and admiration for the way both individuals have cultivated their own sense of self. In this space, desire is born not out of desperation or need, but from the recognition of something real, something substantial. When a man encounters a woman in alignment, he is drawn not to her for what she can give him, but because she reflects a version of himself he desires to embody.